Today, we're going to dive into a totally different way of thinking about business. One where the bottom line isn't the only line that matters. We're exploring the world of Jesuit Business Education, which is this whole philosophy that's not just about creating successful professionals, but about shaping whole people who are dedicated to serving the greater good. And what's really fascinating is how this centuries-old mission was strategically, and very successfully, built into a solid institution for the modern world.
But first, to really get why this movement was so important, we have to look at the problem it was trying to solve. For years, people have been saying that there's a deep crisis in how we teach business, that the entire operating system of business education needed a major reboot.
Now, that is a heavy question, right? After those huge corporate scandals in the early 2000s, thinkers started to connect the dots. They looked at things like Enron and then looked back at what was being taught in some of the most prestigious business schools. And the argument they made was that the very foundation of business education, with its relentless focus on maximizing shareholder value above everything else, was actually helping create a culture where ethical failures were almost inevitable.
And look, this wasn't some brand new idea. All the way back in 2005, a scholar named Sumantra Ghoshal was arguing that business schools had basically given a green light to a very narrow, self-interested view of management that was causing real damage out in the world. He was convinced that if you wanted to fix business practices, you first had to go back and challenge the flawed assumptions of business theory itself.
Okay, so if the conventional model has some serious cracks in it, what's the alternative? Well, this brings us to a really mission-driven approach, one that's rooted in a tradition that's almost 500 years old, from the Society of Jesus. It's the Ignatian way of thinking, named for its founder, St. Ignatius of Loyola.
So to bring this alternative vision into the mainstream, a group of educators started what turned into a decades-long project to really institutionalize this mission. Led by figures like Father Robert Spitzer, S.J., the colleagues in Jesuit Business Education, or CJBE, held their very first conference way back in 1998. And that network, that group of colleagues, eventually led to the 2010 launch of the Journal of Jesuit Business Education, creating a real academic hub to push back against mainstream thought and lay out a more human-centered vision for business.
And the engine driving this whole vision is something called the Ignatian Pedagogical Paradigm, or IPP. Now, this isn't just about dumping information into students' heads. Think of it more like a holistic journey, where the teachers are walking alongside the students, helping them develop not just skills, but a solid moral compass and a real sense of commitment to other people.
So how does it work? Well, the IPP is basically a 5-step cycle. It all starts with context. You have to understand where the student is coming from, their world. Then comes experience, real hands-on learning. After that is reflection, which is absolutely crucial. It's where you make sense of it all. From there, students are pushed to action, to actually do something with what they've learned. And finally, evaluation, which isn't just about grades, but about assessing how they've grown as a person. It's this incredible, repeating loop of deep, transformative learning.
So, what are the core ideas holding this whole philosophy up? Let's dive into a few of the key concepts that really make this mission-driven approach so unique.
First and foremost, you have cura personalis. It's a Latin phrase that means care for the whole person. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's this foundational idea that education has to develop every single part of an individual. Their intellect, of course, but also their emotions, their ethics, and their spirit. It's all about forming leaders who aren't just brilliant, but who are also deeply human.
And this framework from Father Robert Spitzer, S.J., is a fantastic way to understand the goal. He outlines 4 levels of happiness. Level 1 is just immediate gratification, material stuff. Level 2 is all about the ego, winning, status, being better than others. A lot of conventional business models kind of stop right there. But Jesuit education pushes students toward levels 3 and 4. Level 3 is about contribution, finding real meaning by making a positive difference. And level 4? That's about seeking ultimate purpose, things like truth, love, and justice. The whole point is to help students climb that ladder to a richer, more meaningful life.
So how do you stay on that path, especially in our crazy, chaotic world? Well, a key tool for that is called the Examen. It's a 500-year-old practice of daily reflection. It's a simple, but really structured way to just pause, look back on your day with gratitude, understand your feelings and your actions, and figure out the right way forward. For any modern leader, this is how you build the self-awareness you need to make conscious, value-driven decisions instead of just reacting to whatever pressure's in front of you.
And these ideas aren't just, philosophical concepts floating around. They are baked right into the curriculum. These 5 core themes are always front and center.
helping students understand their own personal identity, giving them space to explore faith and spirituality, getting them involved in service learning, pushing them to champion justice and social responsibility, and of course grounding every single decision in ethics.
So what does all this look like when you actually apply it to the huge, messy challenges we're facing in the 21st century? This is where this tradition really becomes a game changer.
This right here represents a massive shift in perspective. Instead of seeing business as just a machine designed to make a profit, it's seen as one of the most powerful tools we have for shaping society. And in this model, leadership isn't about getting power or personal gain. It's a vocation, a true calling to serve the common good and to lift up the entire community.
And this is not just theory. Just look at how the institutions of Jesuit Business Education are putting this mission into action. They're building sustainability right into their curriculum, they're creating frameworks for ethical data, they're championing social entrepreneurship, and the influence of this work is really growing. In 2022, the Journal of Jesuit Business Education was accepted for listing in CJBE, which is a major index of academic journals. That was a huge milestone in this whole journey to institutionalize the mission.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? It's the ultimate report card in this model. A business can be posting record profits, but if it doesn't improve the lives of its employees and contribute something positive to society, it's considered a moral failure. That completely reframes what success in business even means.
And so we're left with the central question that this whole philosophy forces us to think about. I think the key takeaway from this case study is that an idea is only as powerful as the institutions you build to keep it alive. By creating a network of colleagues and a respected academic journal, this movement successfully embedded a mission of service and ethics right into the heart of business education. It's a powerful reminder that the purpose of business itself isn't set in stone. It's a choice. Is it all about profit, or is it a vehicle for building a more just and sustainable world? That's a question worth reflecting on.